We're going to break into programming here about 3:20 on Saturday afternoon. So, you know, the old guy even works on Saturday and halftime on Sunday to try to get this little thing going here. And I put my sign up, but I still am getting my fancy graphics behind it. I thought I was pretty impressed when I did that. And you didn't think I knew it at the time, but I'm a high-techie after all. But anyway, I'm interrupting program here on Saturday afternoon for a couple things that I want you, my listeners, do. And first, the thought process when I talked about we, the people here, have a right to do like the big rich guys, buy everything direct and just fill your pockets. And obviously the common citizen's not going to fill his pockets, but he's got a right. One of the great things, we don't need more housing in this country, but we need a lot more vehicles that get high mileage. And that's the one segment that'll be in this loop that you're seeing this weekend. Being able to buy vehicles direct. Because we've turned our congressional delegation in Minnesota, the Congress in the United States has turned this whole process into AutoNation, you know, big and bigger. And the reality is, I want you guys to be able to buy, or if I get some money as things started coming in here, to be able to buy a vehicle direct, this USA GMC model that I'm talking about that eliminates the dealers. And now I talked about how you come off the line, they could have one in Kansas City or wherever, or if the local dealers here want to become a prep center, whether it's in Fargo or Minneapolis or Alexandria or Wadena or Morris, I could care less. I want you, because we own the company, to get some benefit out of that, owning that company. Just like if we were, if you were a beet grower raising sugar beets in Red River Valley or in southern Minnesota, where I used to live, and you own the company back on Lane and the Scenic Station out here. I always tell you to stop and get some gas when you watch Informed TV and other products there. You own the company, so you should get a dividend. And I'm saying the dividend I want you to see is to buy that vehicle with the same discounts that AutoNation gets, not it just comes off the line, but as there's their volume discount at the end of the year. Whatever a dealership, the biggest dealer, the smallest dealer, whatever it is, when the end of the year and their volume discount is for these GM products that I'm talking, just a select group, basic for you, the average citizen out there, me, the average citizen, that you buy it with the same, eliminating this big fat margin that these dealers get. And what I'm getting at, these car companies have been struggling with about a 6 or 7% return on equity, or the terms they use. They'll give you 50 terms, but there was an example a while back. The dealers are the manufacturer, our GM, was making a margin of about 6 to 7% at that time. You know what, AutoNation or some of these other big dealerships, they were making 14 to 21%. That's what I want for you when we've got these dependable vehicles. And get this congressional delegation in Minnesota to start working for people instead of big money like they're doing now. The other thing that I want to talk about this Saturday afternoon as we're interrupting our loop of program is to remind you, Monday night I'm going to start doing some of the recording live, and I'm not going to guarantee you, I'm going to try to start a new loop at 6:30 each night. You know, I forgot we're getting ice season here, and unless I get my ice house on one of the close lakes, I'm going to miss the walleye bite at night. So I might have to have some interviews and stuff and post them at 6:30. But it's the process as I get equipment in. But we're going to have thin ice for a week anyway, the way it looks. So we'll try to get some a live program, and we'll have some interesting topics or some people brought in this lifetime, so to speak, or that you know at 6:30 you're going to be able to go and flick on selective TV, and hopefully soon Gardenville, Arvig, and Charter in a big way, as well as your friends in some of the other parts of the state. And because it's time Informed TV comes alive, this is my opportunity, and I've got to push my weight just like the despicable business community and some of our government bodies in this Alexandria Lakes area are doing to me, to keep the people uninformed and naive as far as what's really going on. I've had a lot of you great people out there come up to me and say, we want to hear more. And here's the point where I'm breaking in today. I'm asking you, the people that get selective TV in the Alexandria city area here, some of you are in the city limits, some of you are outside the city limits. You may be in Osakis, you may be in Glenwood, you may be in Fergus Falls. I'm not sure how far out this share deal. I'm sure it's these three towns in this area that you go at by 8 o'clock for sure. Go over to the neighbors and tell them, I want to come in and watch TV at your house. Yeah, you know, everybody's got either a kitchen TV or in the bedroom. They can sit on the couch and watch what they want. But I need you guys, some of you guys, to go to the neighbors if you're in an apartment building or the house or by the lake, and you know the neighbors got Charter. You go over there tonight or ask them when it's going to be up again. But I think tonight at 7 o'clock, the City Hall meeting that I went to on the 26th should be on the air. And because I get Charter and I'm out of the city limits, which just boils me, because it shows what? The city mayor, the city administration, the public employees, this group of big money that wants to censor and shut down Informed TV is pushing their signal even beyond city limits. So it's time I react to what's going on here. Now's my moment, as they say, and it's your moment as well to help me and to get some justice in Sin City here called Alexandria and the Douglas County area and Alexandria Lakes area, from Fergus Falls to Sauk Center to 40 miles south and 40 miles north, so to speak. And what's on there? I went to the city council on the 26th at night. That's the meeting that they're showing they're going to have on tonight. I think it starts at 7, but the public comment I don't think was until 8, and I think I was there about 8, so I don't think you need to listen unless you want to. But here's the point. I went to them and requested it's time to get Informed TV on. I told them I've got advertisers, good businesses in the town that are giving me a second, a third check, so to speak, or making a nice commitment to me. But we got City Hall here and the county commissioners not allowing these businesses to get their message out to all the people. And any of the deals I've got right now on Selective Tower, they'll get the cable deal free of charge, and they have that right. And some of the businesses that I'm advertising to, they need the Charter people because they're high-end entities. And I also want you to see what I presented to the city council. And I wasn't my shining armor. I didn't know if I should go in by like Andy Griffith or Dirty Harry or the Al Capone that they portray me as always. And here's the point. On that, if I remember right, I brought up that you guys got 2 channels. I want the one you're not using. And right away, if you listen to this, our quote city attorney, but we're not giving up a channel, and I've been told by the administration, we're not giving up a channel. They got a dead channel in there. But the reality is I want to be on a regular charter one, so I go their whole purple area. In fact, I want their whole area. As long as I'd write them a check each month, that was fine and dandy. But they wanted to control when it was on and how it was on. A second or third tier TV person like myself, the only way you start getting a market is you got to be 24/7, just like we are on the selective TV tower. And anytime they say you're going to be on at a certain time once a week, or it doesn't work unless you can control the signal like I'm doing right now, breaking in. Your time is limited, or you'll just live like a pauper. And so I want you to go over the neighbors tonight about 8 o'clock, and on Channel 7 Charter, you can watch my comments to the City Council. The next morning I went to the commissioner meeting, but my ride didn't show up early. One was coming too early, and because I had some research at home I wanted to do on TV where I get CNBC, and the other one that was supposed to came an hour late because somebody didn't show up for work or whatever. But things happen, as they say. So I didn't get to bring my TV there to look at the Legacy Fund presentation, unfortunately, that I was going to air for you. But hopefully I'll talk to the county guys, and every day they get a little more advanced on what they're going to do, so it's probably fine. And I want to follow up with what's going on with the License Bureau deal. I invited the ladies over the License Bureau to come here, left my card on Thursday, I guess it was. So I want to see all the citizens are for them. That's why I need a channel on all these cable outlets in this Alexandria Lakes area and further out, because all these other ones have been getting a ton of government money. And we won't just talk about Alexandria, we talk about the state, we talk about the nation, we talk about the world here, and you all know that. But so I want you to go over there and do that. And why I went there, and I had my camera along, and I thought, well, they got a camera up there. I did a little bit of photographing there, but I didn't bring a tripod with. And so I thought, the city's doing their thing there. I'll just, next morning, I'll get a copy of that. So here's what I wrote to Kevin, and or Marty, I should say, Marty there. That's been good to me. This was sent Tuesday, November 27th at 1:57 p.m. But I don't know how my computer's set up, if I got current time or I might be Pacific time, whatever you get on computers. But anyway, the next day, and I implied to somebody there I want a copy of it, and I said, do you still have the DVD from last night meetings? I would like to make a copy with my computer or get one from you as soon as possible. Because the last time I requested one, they said, we don't have, the computers in City Hall don't have the ability to burn. And I said, well, I'll bring mine over. And then they said, well, the high school's got it, you know, school district, and Kevin Howey's been good to me as well. But it's time to, you know what, or get off the pot. And then Marty writes back, Kevin has the DV. I typically go get them back in a week after the meeting. Well, what I wanted to do was to present some of what goes on in City Hall. For you people here that don't get cable, charter cable, can see what's going on at City Hall and see my comments as well. And the challenge I put to our city leaders. And but I got that response that get it back in a week, and I thought, what's going on here? I'm pressed. And so I wrote to Marty, I'm working on court, I wrote to him, I would like to air it as soon as possible. Here's what I wrote. I would like to air as soon as possible the public meeting I attended and presented my views as a Alexandria press company. So a week or so from now does not cut it. and I put guys to, whether the mayor read it or whoever, whatever Marty did with it. And then he wrote back, I'm working on coordinating system with Kevin, in other words the school district, and you know how much the school district likes me, and or using our technology so we can have copies available to the public as soon as possible. I would advise you once I talk further with Kevin, and make sure you get this back to, who's the populist on Virgil, on the city council. And I'm not the public, I'm press. And I wanted a copy immediately to see that I could air it for you guys. And I want to, but now in the Stone Age city of Alexandria, even though it's wired, even though and I can take care of jingle bells myself here, we got censorship big time in the Alexandria Lakes area. And it's high time right here and now that we break down the local mafia and all their so-called connections, because that's really the best way to describe what's going on in the Alexandria Lakes area, to try to censor me. And then to show you a little bit of other thing that should just make you steam out of all your ears was the fact that originally in this process of jingle bells, as I told you, we're going to put it on 21.3. And Jim there, really good, but I understand Jim's got to work with the board, and this meeting I talked about, or these series of meetings to get jingle bells lined up and all this kind of stuff, I was never included in that, even though I convinced Jim and the rest that it's a doable deal. And Jim said, you're right, you know, we can just put it on 21.3 and everything will go forward. And I'm not trying to get Jim in trouble, I'm just trying to say a spade's a spade, and good old Jim would agree with that, but the big shots took over. And here's the interesting thing I forgot about. Mark Anthony and I still correspond a little. A bunch of you people say, when do you get Mark back with weather? And I haven't quite convinced him yet. The station has got to run the way I see it. They failed. And I want to bring weather back, and I maybe even Bob Kniff that appears and that he's not going to be elected. Mary's going to be our representative. He can come here and do some things. So the Democrats in the Douglas County area can say I give all opportunities. I like Bob, and I'd like him to do some sports. So actually, Bob, I'm sorry, but I actually prayed that you would lose, because I think you can be better service to me and the public by working with Informed TV, and so on and so forth. But anyway, here's the other thought I want you to think about here today as I'm breaking into the program. I got an email from Mark Anthony in October when I already knew that it was going to come together, and of course I'm happy about that. But it needs to be on 21.3 as I talked, and let me push it around the state as well, with all these hundreds of millions of dollars with direct money. Let's see if we can get some bang for a buck for it, and see if we're truly wired or we're just monopolized by all these little cable outlets around the state and dictatorial signal that I want, and from 42 out here down by southeast corner of the county, what the heck is the little town down there where the big antenna is, and down in Redwood Falls. The Hubbard family has enough hundreds of millions. They don't need that, but they can still have a signal out here, just not, they're not here broadcasting, other than when the part why I focused on Tom Hauser, he never looked at me. Tom knows me, but they sent him out here because they know I'm starting to raise a little ruffle out here, and they don't want any competition, and they certainly don't want me to have a tower out here, so I don't have to listen to any boards or anything like that. I tell you, a spade is a spade, and that's what our forefathers intended press to be. But anyway, here's the deal. When this thing was still subsurface to the public. Mark Anthony writes to me. All of a sudden, my computer, a link comes up to Jingle Bells Alexandria, and he writes me, Alan, I just went to the Alexandria JC site, and they are talking about annual Jingle Bells telethon going on as usual on December 8th. As we've talked about here, it's 5 to 10 on December 8th. I'm guessing they're going to do it via online streaming, as they don't talk of any local television station. But when those meetings were called, the very first one, they were already told, we're set up with Inform TV 21.3, and 21.3 can put it on Charter, they can put it on Arvig, they can put it on Gardenville, they can put it on Runestone, they can put it in Chicago, they can put it on Park Region, they can put it in St. Cloud, they can put it in Duluth, they can put it in Rochester, Mankato, Marshall, Wilmer, so on and so forth. Plus any of the, what I talked to you about, the Tel-Alliance groups with the connections that I've lined up in this process called Inform TV. Anyway, Mark goes on to write, I don't know if KSDP would allow it to, I gotta back up. I don't know if KSTP would allow it to try to soothe things over this year, but there is no mention of a local television station. In other words, he was trying to wonder if KSTP was going to let some of the tower out here work and them get some shine in their apple, even though they pulled out of Dodge, as they say. And then he writes to me, and Mark's a good guy, nice guy, been good to me. I owe him a few bucks yet from working on the fair, but he'll be taken care of. And then he writes, have they contacted you about this and seeing if you could do anything? See, everybody already knew. I knew I could do anything, and good old Jim at Selective TV knew I could do things. The techies he used, the techies I use, the people in the Valtis data center who are vendor neutral, they're taking no sides. Yeah, we can do that. And then they go, this would be a, Mark writes to me, this would be a huge boom to Inform TV with you airing it around the state. Why? Because Mark knows I was paying for time on 190,000 homes through Charter, and he knew I was making inroads on the rest. Not everything, of course, but he knew darn well I could charter everybody up in the state, 190,000 households, and I can, and I still should be doing that if we had a governor or legislature, attorney general, a public service commission anymore, or a viable FCC properly handling TV signals around, rather than being puppets of the big cell phone companies and the handful of media empires that just get bigger and bigger, that what led us to the financial cliff. And then Mark writes, this would bring you some instant credibility and promotion to tune into your station. In other words, Inform TV. Why do you think I went over there and talked to the people at the Geneva Christian Center? I knew that would give me some real credibility instantly. And still can and still should. And I'm going to push it, people. And that's why I'm breaking into news here at 3:45 on Saturday afternoon. What is it, the 1st? And then he writes, the Echo Press and all the local radio stations would be forced, because he knows they hate my guts as well, to cover the event and talk of Inform TV, which their throats just go spasmic when they hear the name Inform TV. And then he writes, Alan, you couldn't buy that kind of promotion yourself. And he's right. But I could find it, I could line it up, and now they don't want me to carry the signal out around where hundreds of millions of your dollars to cable outlets and monopolies that we have allowed to put together and so on and so forth. I just want you to know it's time we take on the establishment, and you help me. You go over to the neighbors, and then you send me an email, al@informtv.com, and yeah, we went over there and listened, and especially you guys like myself that live outside the city limits, but your neighbor is still getting the propaganda of City Hall here in Alexandria. They don't have time to coerce. They don't have no right or to coerce with Charter or any other cable outlet to get a big check, and to if you listen to that piece with the county, we're not giving up that channel, that's ours. For what? To push the propaganda of government. And whether it's the school district here, the county commissioners, so on and so forth, they all do some great things, don't get me wrong. But all of them, including the churches, need somebody that looks under the rug and keeps them honest. And that's what Inform TV is all about, and that's what Inform TV will continue. If you need a new vehicle, let's push this congressional delegation that we can go on with certain dependable vehicles that got a good engine in them, a good drivetrain in them. We can buy them direct, and we can buy them for the same low ball price of the Auto Nation or whatever big conglomerate, Luther Auto, or in the cities, or some of these out here now that are owned by Timbuktu and somebody from Saudi Arabia. Who knows what owns these car dealerships. But the sad part also is everybody is so much controlled. I've told some of the local dealers here that, hey, I got a little program here, and I think we're working well for the people out there at Alex Power and Equipment, and Ollie's and Senix and Dickman Jewelry and Consular Realty and others that have been kind enough to advertise here, and think you, the common citizen, have a right to see what's really going on in your community, or to see a very unique perspective on what's going on, and some very unique entertainment covering events. And here's the thing that also you want to think about, to show how despicable government bodies have become in the Alexandria Lakes area. You saw on Inform TV when the city workers and Alex Power and Light, which is what? An entity of all the citizens in Alexandria. I took that same piece to Marty over there in City Hall, and Jim and the mayor and so on and so forth. They said, put this up so people can see how our city workers are spending their time. Our public utilities that we all own, and anybody that pays a bill, what our people are doing. Well, I can't put it if you got an ad on. I said, Marty, it's only local businesses. It's Alex Power. Don't they pay taxes here, Marty? I said, Senix? Doesn't Senix pay taxes here? Don't Sonia and Earl at Ollie's pay taxes here? What about Consular Realty, Dickman Jewelry, all of them? And remember, they're not putting any input in here. I'm trying to represent people that are spending money to inform you that they have a right to see what's going on in their city. And when they advertise with a local press outlet, they have the right to see that it goes to as many, if not all, the citizens in the area. Those people didn't put me up to anything, and the mob in town with the big money and the fancy cars, they may give them heck at the next city council or the next whatever meeting. But the truth of the matter is, people, we've got some really good businesses in town, and I just named them, that are trying to see that we keep everybody in the community improving their lifestyle. And yet we have government entities from the school district to the tech center to whatever trying to blow smoke in your face and my face. And it's time we clear the smoke and look at what's really happening. And I'm going to be pushing it this week. I'm going to be talking about it at 6:30 on Monday night, 6:30 on Tuesday night, 6:30 on Wednesday night, 6:30 on Thursday night. And if I got my vehicle working by then, I may take Friday night off. But I'll still put something up new for you and go on there. But it's time to see that the lights come on in City Hall, the school district, the business community, the county, and all the entities around Alexandria Lakes. Let's open the window, let All Informed TV look under the rug and tell you what they're really doing and why they're driving brand new vehicles and living a life of kings, and you're either losing your home or wondering, will that vehicle of yours get through the winter? Are you looking at the same entity that old Al Repke had to do walk for a month before one of our good Christian citizens, business people in the area, like some of them I just mentioned, said, hey, let's see what's going on here. The cliff is coming. Why is the cliff here? Because there was no press for the last 30 years in this cockeyed country. And we have to look at some of these issues, people. That's what our forefathers did when they said freedom of the press. And what was Glass-Steagall and now despicable Dodd-Frank? What a disgrace to put that name on those two dodos. They were in there just like Grassley, and I don't care what political party, Glass-Steagall, I think they called it. I always forget these cockeyed names, but in the 30s, what to make the same people accountable that I am at Informed TV, breaking into the signal here, Informed TV, on Saturday afternoon, and I'll hopefully run it on DVD that's up there. Go over to your neighbors at Charter about 8 o'clock and look what I said there. And it wasn't my shining armor, because I was wondering what approach I should take to it, but ask old Virgil about it, and the city will say, well, we can't act immediately. Well, the reality is I've got no feedback from the county commissioners. When I went to that meeting, I've got no feedback. If they really intended to do something, people, I think they'd have got back to me by now. And give old Virgil a call, you guys that know Virgil, and see what's going on there. Because I'm going to tell you, when I found out now that we got a weak mayor system, and we've got Jenkins, I think, what's his name? Jenkins come in, I know, worked with his wife there. I was thinking Virgil needs to take him under his shoulder and get not just Virgil talking, but I went to the meeting. Actually, I'll tell you right up, and I tell Virgil himself there, we got to get Virgil to tone down a little and be a little more tactful. Maybe give him a Valium before he goes in the meeting, or meet me down at the depot, or for a beer and a pizza before he goes in, to calm him down a little bit. I watched his performance the other night, and that's why I wanted to see. He's trying to do his job for it, but he needs to throttle it back a little. So I'm thinking Jensen, who in a previous life a little bit, I know he can be a loose cannon, so to speak, but he's old enough now, maybe gained enough along the way, that he's got to understand, if you're going to be on those boards, and Virgil needs to do his style, you can't be a loose cannon. You've got to be tactful. And here's the other thing that I learned by going there is, who are you going to either appoint? I think it's just an appointment in Sarah's district, because you people that are concerned or frustrated what's going on in the Alexandria Lakes area, that the government and the business, they're all coercing together, because we have no press anymore in this area, is that we need to make sure that I think it's the 5th Ward has a really good person that can get Virgil and, what is it, Jensen or whatever. His kid works down at the depot down here, Robert. For some reason I'm blank. It starts with a J anyway. You guys should know, you just elected him. I don't live in the city limits. But we want to see that we got a 3-pack. Because if we get a 3-pack that works together, uses their head, we can change a lot of things. And we can see that when we drive down the street, we all can look in the windows, not just the big and famous. And these deals here that I just read about our buddy Mark Anthony of telling me this would be a real feather in your cap. You darn right I knew it was a real feather in my cap. But unfortunately, even the churches, I called the deal over there, and because I want to do some of my way of feeding when we get these speakers into the Christian Center, or we get conventions out at Arrowwood. I call them on Monday or something like that and message, what can you, if you do this with your charter connection, and I'll pay for it, find out what it costs to do what I'm asking for upload speeds. But now I got I'm trying to work some things with our CenturyLink people over here, because they I think can see the writing on the wall, and I got some lights going on in their head too, so we get some real competition in the market. And to see that old City Hall, the county commissioners, the state legislature, the governor, our congressional group start working for common people rather than just the rich and the famous. But anyway, sorry for interrupting our program, but the loop will go on, and I'll have to pull some of it off now to get this back on. But Monday night, I'll be active, as they say, on Monday, and you'll be more informed by Monday night, and probably got another directive for you. But remember, either call the neighbor that's got charter and say, can you put your DVD in, or DVR on, and about 8 o'clock, and see what old Repke said, and see what kind of feedback he got from the city council when they already have a channel, but they got this check, I think it was what, 80, 90,000 bucks or something, when they were, the city attorney and our city leaders were what I call coercing with a power pipe named charter, rather than treating them as a utility, that they come into this town, the mayor or the city council still in charge. We don't get them Philadelphia lawyers to tie our hands around, and because you'll find it interesting, they can't, under the idiotic agreements that these Philadelphia lawyers that have tied up these country hicks in this, all you communities that are getting this, these country hick lawyers we've got out here, that they give the city council a big check, and so they can walk around like a bunch of roosters and old hens, and but they put this fine print in there, and for example with Alexandria, the second channel, but they can't get the second channel, they can't put any advertising on, because they know a guy like me is dead in the water without money, just like your government officials do, and just like your big money people do in town here, that are driving your health costs up and pushing your wages down. But the first channel they got in Channel 7, they got to have 80 or 100% new programming every time you turn it on, even at 3 in the morning. Well, why would you want to do that? You don't get paid for it. You can't get a pay for it. Like I said, I went over to Marty over here in City Hall, presented them city workers putting up Christmas lights, a city-owned public utility putting up city lights, the Runestone Center, that's what, the Chamber of Commerce. I go down there, I film all of that, I get a few ads from the good businesses in town, good people that, remember, take no position that on anything, but they think all people have a right to know what's going on. And I go down there, Santa Claus, all of it's wonderful, but your city here got, because of either an ineptness or just plain corruption, I don't know what the best word is to put it, and can't even put for our senior citizens and all the retirement homes in the city of Alexandria, or shut-ins, or whatever. Can't see the lights going up in Alexandria by city workers, by a city-owned public utility. They can't go and see what the Chamber of Commerce, which is the Runestone Museum, I guess, right across from Big Ole anyway. We don't want the the big money people, or the big money people don't want the common citizen that got charter, the only option for cable in town, to see what's going on by a local press outlet. And don't you think that's despicable? I certainly do. That's why I'm breaking into programming on live on Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock in Alexandria. Because why? I'm a true broadcaster of every sense of the FCC guidelines, and they should all must carry Informed TV. And make sure you talk to these people and you get a hold of those JC guys and say, hey, we got Informed TV in town. That's the guy that should be broadcasting that. He wants to do it. Make sure he gets that signal, and let's get these government entities under control, and so they start serving citizens rather than their rich buddies and their corrupt whatever. So with that, we have a little fun this Saturday afternoon, and we'll try to get it up. So if you just caught a little bit of this afternoon at 4 o'clock, you can watch it tonight, tomorrow, coming into Monday. And then remember, Monday night, we're going to have some further along here, because I want to see that Jingle Bells is out there, and it's high time we reestablish a press in the Alexandria Lakes area, and that signal will hopefully vibrate out across Minnesota and across the nation and into our corrupt world as well. We're trying to make a difference, and I thank every one of you for listening to Informed TV, and give me a thumbs up when you go by, or get more done, because it's time we address the cliff that this big money people and despicable governance has thrown in our face. We can address it, but it's time those people that caused it are held accountable. People they talk about in Washington about transparency, you haven't seen nothing. You haven't seen zero transparency. And I tell you what, this congressional delegation in our state should be just taken to the wall. We have a president. The other day, what did he do? He took his road trip out to watch Tinker Toys. Did you see him? You talk about these stupid Republicans and Romney of praising who's that fat governor out there hugging the president, and instead of bringing in Romney like you should have and say, in 7 days we'll find out which one of you guys is going to be president. People say, well, he had to take care of his citizens. What do you mean? The Homeland Security and all these funny money only goes to states and areas if you bow down and hug and kiss the president? Not in my America that I grew up in. It's maybe in America you'll accept, but it sure as heck is not in the America I will accept. And people, there's a ton of things that I want to start showing you. And if I get my little thing going here a little better, so I get a few more bucks so I can push a couple more buttons, maybe get a person or two to, rather than me pile through a paper. I know where everything is, you know. I don't read. I sense what's in this pile and that pile, and this paper, and this is what I want. But I got to get to that level to be a true manager, and I'll blow you away at what I'll tell you. In fact, I'll blow you away in some things next week at 6:30. So start remembering, spread the word. Turn in at 6:30 and ask these city council members and why the rest of the community can't have TV. Are we back in the 40s where it's only New York City people can see what's going on? Yeah, we are in censorship Alexandria Lakes area. That's the sad deal, and that's why we're running into the cliff. Thanks for listening to Informed TV. I'm Alan Repke, and I'll push the button, and you should be back to regular programming. But I'll try to get this on a disc, but obviously I've talked quite a ways that I'll have to pull some stuff off. But you get my drift. Have a good evening.